So this is our post-match for our game against Gully Reapers. Let me welcome you back to my beautiful studio in Hoxton. I'll show you around a little bit, a few bits of kit, bits of gear that you have to get a mortgage to take out. We've got some fucking gold there. Got, you know, some number ones, trophies for number ones over there. This is where I work, man. This is where I pay the bills and look after the family and such. But anyway, I'm just joshing. Yeah, we're in a good mood because we got the win yesterday against Reapers. It's good and bad. It's tinged with good and bad. So obviously, my game before was against CT. Really, a game where we were preparing for 3 points and lost it because lost the 3 points and had to settle for one. Playing in coach mode. We got our tactics wrong. You can't do that in coach mode. So that was upsetting. So we knew going into the game against Reapers, one, we needed our hand to heal in order to play properly. And then two, we needed to make a statement. And we kind of did and we didn't do that. And the first things first is our hand wasn't healed. I thought it was healed sufficiently enough to play. I soon realised in the first seconds of play, my hand really wasn't up to it. But the game had started, so I had to get through to it. And I think I've done myself more damage. And I don't know how I'm going to play the next couple of games, if I'm being honest, because I need this hand to heal. Because every time I play, I'm doing more damage to it. The position the injury's in. And it's at a vital time in the healing process of the break. So I've broken it 3 times already. So the area is very weak. So again, this is probably a game I should have done on coach mode. But I really wanted to play it. And also I've been losing points on coach mode. Coach mode has not been an advantage for me. It's been quite the opposite. So I really wanted to make sure I get those points. But moving on to the game, we had studied Reapers enough to know how they were going to set up, to know how they were going to try and play. We know they like to play very centrally. You know, they like to pack out the centre with all their attackers. They like to have their midfielders pretty much in a straight line through the midfield. You know, they use the kind of tactics that work when you're playing on 3-pass support and you're doing ping-pong passing blindly and 1-2s everywhere. But those tactics generally don't work when you're using 0-pass support and you have to be able to build play and make triangles and stuff. So we knew they were going to set up like that. So we had made a point of making sure we're going to play a back 3, first of all, just to make sure we've got adequate cover. That cuts down the variables of any sort of bouncing balls or just the fact they've got a man in a dangerous position. Whereas in a 4-4-2, you know, a bit of luck can go someone's way and they score a goal. So we played a back 3 and 5 across the midfield and then 2 up front. And the 2 up front was because I knew that I watched a few of their games and saw how people were getting in and around their defenders. So I knew if I played the 2, he has a propensity to get pulled out of position. And if Neymar's supporting that 2, then you can start pulling defenders out and making space and people can run into those spaces. So that was the tactic. And then also we made sure we played Sergio Ramos. One, because on corners he is immense. And 2, because of the threat of Ronaldo. I just thought Ramos, you know, Thiago Silva and had been playing well for me, but this was not the game for him, coming up against Silva and coming up against Ronaldo and Aubameyang. So I played Ramos, Chiellini and Marquinhos. It's probably the most aggressive backline I can play. And they're all good in the air, because I know he likes to do a long ball. And all those boys generally have around 90 jump, 90 header, and they've all got aggression. The one mistake I made is I probably should have played. I mean, Ramos was immense in the centre of that 3. Probably should have played Marquinhos in the centre at the 3 as far as attacking formation goes, because Ramos really struggled with the diagonals. They were all dropping short for some reason, and that's where I usually play Silva or Marquinhos, who have build up. But I feel like Ramos struggles when he's on the outside of the three, and he's a bit more protected in the middle of the three, so I played him there. But yeah, we suffered because our diagonals were falling short, and at some point he started playing a gegenpress, and we stupidly were trying to pass through the press when you got to go over the press, but I think we probably didn't do that because all our long balls and diagonals weren't hitting the mark. So it was a weird game because we didn't really play very well because of our hand. We couldn't play the way we wanted to. We couldn't angle our passes the way we wanted to. But luckily for us, he made a lot of silly mistakes and he made a lot of silly choices. And also, our finishing game was on point. So the first goal, personally for me, was it was a goal of the season candidate in my opinion. As soon as kickoff went, it became clear that he defensively wasn't able to sit up to our passing. We knew we wanted to start fast. Reason being, on zero pass support, teams find their range at different times. And I know I've watched a few of his games and he's not totally comfortable on zero. So I knew if I started fast, it would take him a bit of time to acclimatise. So that's what we did. We started fast, one touch passing, not trying to hold the ball too long, playing quick. And we scored pretty much straight away. Good defensive move on the left flank. Put it back in. Casemiro put it to Ramos, who put it to Neymar. And Neymar's pass was great because he dropped it into the space behind the midfield and in front of the defence. And it was going towards Lewandowski, but I allowed Ilicic to pick it up. Lewandowski made the run in behind, and because of where he dropped the ball, Pavard came out of position to try and press the ball, and Lewandowski ran into that space Pavard played. I knew as the ball was coming to Ilicic isn't taking a touch. We're doing a through ball straight away to exploit the space that Pavard made. He might intercept it, but if he doesn't, I'm through on goal. That's what happened. He didn't intercept it, and Lewandowski finished straight away, and that was pretty much the first play of the game, essentially. And from there, the first half was quite dominant. 3-0. I had 68% possession. They're always dangerous because they've got Ronaldo, they've got Müller, they've got Gnabry, and then later on they brought on Aubameyang. So you've got to stay. They keep you honest because of the attack they've got. Second half was a lot hotter because they put on a gegenpress, and it was really effective, their press, because obviously we were playing pretty passes in the first half in the middle. I say pretty passes, and then they put on a gegenpress, and it was effective, and we made it even more effective because we stupidly kept trying to pass through the press arrogantly. Why? Instead of going over it. And like I said, I think part of that was because I wasn't so confident with Ramos being in the sort of fulcrum positioning of those three. But at the same time, our defensive block was strong enough and our midfield block was strong enough that I felt I could defend their attacks, and we rode our luck. There was one situation they got where Aubameyang, they managed to get an overlap. How, I don't know. We didn't feel like we had overcommitted, but Aubameyang managed to get in behind and missed his chance. And I mean, they only had 2 shots in the whole game, but that was a really good chance to go 1-1. But as far as we were concerned, when it was 1-0 up, I mean, Perrin made a great point-blank save from Lewandowski. That would have made it 2-0. We made a good save from Ilicic, albeit, a routine save, but a good save from Ilicic. Then in the second half, he made an incredible save. Great move where we did just sort of, Firmino came on and was brilliant. Little back heel to Neymar, who burst into the box, who just put it across for Lewandowski, 1-on-1. Keeper made a great save. That probably would have made it 3-0 at the time. The second goal came about because they were attacking. I'd kept Lewandowski on counter target. Then when we got the chance, Ilicic played a through ball through, which he kind of overhit. The defender covered it, but Lewandowski kept the pressure on, and the defender fucked up the pass. Lewandowski got the ball. His keeper had come out, sat his keeper down. It was actually a really well taken goal, albeit opportunist, but it was a well taken goal. Sat the keeper down, back of the net. And then the third goal came near the end. It was a third man run. So I think Firmino got the ball, gave it to Bale. Bale put it back into Lewandowski. Firmino had carried on his run just before he got beyond the last defender, fed the through ball through. Firmino was 1-on-1. What I do know about about Gully Reapers is they like to move their keeper when you're 1-on-1. I've seen them do it all the time. I play online a lot, so these sorts of tricks, like I see them all the time, and they're so easy to counteract. In fact, they make your job easier. So when I was 1-on-1, I just waited for the inevitable of him trying to move his keeper, and then wait for him to move and put it in the back of the net. It's all simple stuff, really. So basically, it was a simple game. A game, we didn't play well. Because of our hand, and a game we probably could have made a lot easier for ourselves if we played with a bit more fear and a bit less arrogance. And it's a game that we probably would win easier if we were fully fit. But I'm happy with the 3-0. They were much better than I thought they were going to be. I'm going to be honest. I watched some of their games prior, and this wasn't a game that I was looking at as a game we were worried about. Watching them against Menace and watching them against Genesis, and with all due respect to Reapers, this wasn't a game we were sort of tactically pondering all of the week. In fact, I haven't even played the game. I just watched a few of their matches and saw how they set up, and it's all pretty simple, really. This is a game which would be much more complicated if you weren't on zero pass support, because the way they set up is to try and just score goals with the least amount of build-up. But zero pass support, the way it's set up, it's just a formality. So yeah, we just went out there and we knew we'd get more chances than them. I think it ended up we had 7 shots and 7 shots on target. They had 2 shots and 1 on target, and they had about 30 something possession. So that's how we thought the game would pan out. Like I said, my hand was not right, so there's a lot of missed passes I'm doing because I'm really scared to crack my hand. So I don't know what I'm going to do in the next couple of games. I don't know who I've got. I think I've got Genesis next because I haven't played him yet. But I'm going to have to really see if my hand can hold up for the week and see if I can play the next 2 or 3 games, because I need my healing time. But as far as Reapers are concerned, credit to them. They stuck to their task. At the end, they were doing Marseille roulette. They did a rainbow flick at the end. People know how I feel about that sort of nonsense. It's like, I don't like seeing that in the game, but people can do what they want. Personally, I don't like it. But they skipped some of my replays, but it is what it is. I can understand they are upset. They probably felt like they were attacking and it wasn't dropping for them, or they couldn't direct properly. Look, I was in there with a broken hand trying to play, and I couldn't play the way I wanted to play. I had to play a totally different way just to accommodate the fact my hand's broken. So it is what it is, man. I just feel like, as far as the balance of play, we're probably the superior team tactically. They got their tactics. They sorted out their tactics in the second half, but it would never have been enough just because of our firepower and the way we know how to execute with the guys we got up front. So another 3 points. It keeps us in the chasing pack of the top 2, and sort of keeps us a slight bit of away from the chasing pack from me, because everyone's really close at the moment. So onwards and upwards. It is what it is. We're not a team that likes to talk too much, and some teams get given all this glory from other clubs, but we kind of don't generally. There's a few teams that give us respect, and they're usually the better teams, but other teams don't talk. But when we're on form, we can beat everyone and beat them well. So hopefully I can get my hand back. Hopefully I can finally get some form, because I haven't had a good run of games in this league yet, which is unfortunate. So I'm just waiting for the second half to start, and we'll see from there. Take care.